What is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back here with some Resident Evil 4 gameplay for you. And today I got a long, lengthy video where I'm going to be talking about a certain topic that I saw on social media posted by a fellow Resident Evil content creator, Rapidcrafter, and something where I read initially and I thought, that's kind of ridiculous. But I've been thinking about it the last couple days and I've seen some of the posts about it, the replies. And thinking about it a little bit longer, I actually have a lot to say about this because I don't think it's 100% unfounded, but I do think a lot of context is needed to fully understand the situation. So, long story short, Resident Evil Requiem, after it's been revealed, and more people learning that there's more than likely going to be a second playable major character, even hearing rumors that, hey, this second playable character is going to be armed to the teeth. And more than likely, it's going to be Leon based on how a lot of the leaks and rumors have been led us to believe the last few years. And it makes sense, you know, going back to Raccoon City, the scene of crime, the scene of where Leon first started his Resident Evil debut, it makes sense and I understand it. But what Rapidcrafter posted was the fact that apparently, ever since the reveal of this, Leon S. Kennedy has been getting a lot of forced hatred of people apparently now hate him, and they just do not want to see him in the game. And basically saying that I understand why people might not want to see him in Resident Evil 9 for fear if they want to see someone else, but now that they're questioning that he's not even a great character, and now he's basically overhated. But yes, we have come full circle now. Leon S. Kennedy has now been overhated in the Resident Evil fandom.
No thanks, bro.
Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me?
God damn it, when does it end?
Now, when I first heard that, I thought that was asinine. I was like, what? Is this a joke? Leon S. Kennedy is now going to be a hated character in Resident Evil? I mean, there's no way that can even be true or even fathom it. I mean, Leon S. Kennedy is by far the most popular character in Resident Evil, especially during the RE engine days right now, because his popularity has even skyrocketed after his last two remakes have been greatly received, and their sales are probably going to be the most two sold Resident Evil games at the end of the day when it's all said and done over time. Not to mention, I could argue that Leon might be more popular by himself than the rest of the Resident Evil cast combined together. I mean, that's how popular he is. So when I heard that, I was like, that's ridiculous. But then, Rapidcrafter posts that, hey, if I'm a content creator, so am I. And because of that, you're warranted to seeing a lot of comments, and you see everything. And I agree with that. That's a positive and a negative, a double-edged sword. You see everything, but unfortunately, you see everything. Are there people that absolutely hate Leon? Yes. And probably amplify more with the whole reveal of Requiem? Yes. And I get it, I understand it. I just don't think it's to the degree that, we're going to see a huge amount of people hate him, because it's Leon. He's always going to be a fan favorite and the most popular Resident Evil character. But I definitely don't think he's overhated or has a lot of hatred. If you want to talk about an overhated character or a character that has a lot of haters, more haters than fans, look no further than Steve from Code Veronica or Mia from Resident Evil 7 or Village. Those are two characters I would say to have a lot of hatred, a lot of forced hatred or overhated characters. You can't be overhated or forced hatred if you're the most popular character. That's just where I stand with Leon. But I don't deny that there's a lot of, I guess, maybe disliked or frustration is the word I would say with the character. Because I don't think a lot of people, even the people you hear, and listen, I get it, you hear idiots all day on social media, it is what it is, and it is the Resident Evil fandom, but I don't think a lot of this stuff is unwarranted. Because I do think a lot of people who are fans of Leon, he is my second favorite character in Resident Evil, there's a lot of frustrations dealing with Leon, and I want to go over to why these reasons are coming up, because this stuff didn't happen overnight. And that's why I believe a lot of context is needed for the situation, because it's not just, he's in the game possibly, now everyone hates him. No, it's a lot more deeper than that, and I want to go over them, because I got 5 reasons why I believe there is a little bit of, I guess, ambiguity, just uncertainty, frustration, of just with Leon. As I said, I don't think anyone has a problem with him being in the game, but when you put it in context with so many other things, that's when the problems arise. So I'm going to start with reason number 1, why you're seeing a little bit of pushback with the possibility of Leon being in Resident Evil Requiem, which, by the way, it's not 100% confirmed, because wouldn't that be crazy if he never was in the game? It was like, I don't know, Hunk was the armed person, or it was Tofu, man, and his whole unit. That'd be crazy. In fact, I'd actually like to see that just from a hilarity standpoint. But yes, so reason number one why people are having a little pushback against this is the fact that Capcom has shown a lot of favoritism towards Leon. I mean, they are very biased for Leon when compared to a lot of the other characters in Resident Evil. I mean, take the RE Engine days, for example. Let's just say Resident Evil 7 was the beginning of this era we have in Resident Evil, the RE Engine era. That's where it really took off. Resident Evil 7 kind of put this franchise back on the map after it kind of took a nosedive after RE6. Leon has had two mainline games. They are both remakes. In terms of Resident Evil 2, one of the most popular and well-loved games of the franchise, and Resident Evil 4 remake, which is a remake of possibly one of the greatest games ever made, period. And in both games, Leon shined greatly. He looked like $1 million. People couldn't get enough of him. They liked the portrayal of him. They liked the voice actor of him. They liked everything about him. They liked his story. They loved both games. I said both games are probably going to be the top two most sold games at the end of the day when it's all said and done. Leon in both of these remakes looked great. But Resident Evil 2 Remake wasn't just Leon's remake. It was also Claire's remake. But I remember when Resident Evil 2 Remake was advertised, you barely saw Claire. And even after the game came out, more people were talking about Leon than Claire. But more on Claire in a moment. Because as I said, you know, not all remakes are created equal. And obviously we got Resident Evil 4 Remake, which seemed to try to add another page to this remake version of Leon's story. And once again, we got another remake where Leon looked really good. People loved Resident Evil 4 Remake. Some people even claimed, hey, they might even like it more than the original one. I still have never kind of gotten to that point where I would ever pick one or the other. You know, obviously the original is my all-time favorite, but I love the remake as well. But you get the point. Both games made Leon look great, and people loved it, and his popularity grew even more. But recall what I said, that not all remakes are created equal, because there was a remake in between 2 and 4, which was, you guessed it, Resident Evil 3 Remake. And this is where a lot of people get really frustrated with the whole Leon character, because they're all saying, okay, so every time you have a Leon in anything, you always got to make him look good, but why is it when it came to someone like Jill, a character who people had wanted to see return for a long time, you half-ass her remake? You know, that's not right. I mean, this is JillValentine here, for goodness sakes. And if you're willing to do this to Jill, what's that say about you as a company? And I'm not going to get into the whole hoopla of, oh, why they did it. Was it a half-ass job? We all get the whole parameters around it. But the point is, do you think they would do that to a Leon-led game? Hell no, they wouldn't. They'd go all and about. They'd go the extra mile. And that's where a lot of people may get a little dislike and a little pissed off frustration towards Leon, because it's like, man, you always bend over backwards for Leon, but when it comes to Jill, you know, you half-ass it. Or it comes to Claire, she's just kind of forgotten. Because the other factor you got to point into is, when I'm talking about Claire, is that they didn't go into her remake initially after 3 Remake, which would be the next one in the timeline. They went straight to 4. And yes, I know that they could possibly still, you know, I've heard them going to do Code Veronica, you know, eventually a remake, but the fact is they went straight to 4. And I get it, yeah, the money is there, but once again, it's another example of Capcom prioritizing a Leon game over everyone else. So when you see that kind of dislike or frustration, or maybe possibly a little hatred there, well, you can thank Capcom for that, because they created a lot of these problems for you. And as Jill would say,
well, you can thank your corporate overlords for that.
But yeah, you see, back in the good old days, Resident Evil used to have a good situation where you could have multiple characters be the main character in a Resident Evil franchise. But unfortunately, that's not the case to be, as it seems like it's always the Leon games get prioritized. But I know what you're saying. Hey, you know, Ethan, a brand new character, he got 2 mainline games. You know, why don't you talk about him? I mean, yeah, it sucks what happened to Jill and Claire's is usually kind of forgotten, but you know, you had Ethan, and you know, I like what they tried to do with him. I like that they gave confidence to have a brand new character be the main character for back-to-back 2 brand new Resident Evil games. But unfortunately, as we all know the context, poor Ethan has now been killed. Or if you still believe he is still alive at the end of Rose DLC. But either way, that's a hiatus of 16 years. We're more than likely not going to see him if that is to be true. But more than likely, they killed him off. And that basically kills the whole progression of anyone forward, but this ending him completely. So, brand new character is not going to progress and go anymore. So, no Ethan. But I know what you're going to say. Well, what about the other big elephant in the room? Chris. You know, we haven't mentioned Chris. And that's where I get into problem number 2 and the misconception of it. And that is overexposure. So people always like to say that, oh, Leon is being overexposed. But so is Chris, right? Chris has been overexposed. Wrong. Chris has not been overexposed in the slightest, and I'm actually sick and tired of it. It's kind of funny because I used to be a person that wasn't a crazy Chris fan, but now it seems like I defend him more than anything else. So people say, hey, why get tired of Leon? You know, Chris has been in 4 mainline Resident Evil games back to back to back to back since Resident Evil 5 to Resident Evil Village. But here's the problem. The last 2, Resident Evil 7, he was barely in it. He was in a small cameo that appeared at the end, as well as DLC that no one really remembers or even talks about anymore. And it wasn't a long DLC, so yeah, he was really in it all right. And then if you want to go to Resident Evil Village, he had, you know, I guess you could argue, hey, he was on the cover of the game, but he had a small playable section, and that's it. He wasn't a main playable character. At least he allowed Ethan in both games to be the main character of both games. He didn't take all the spotlight. That's why I feel so scared for Grace if, unfortunately, Leon has to hog the spotlight and be the other main character, because we know how that's going to go with. And I'm more on that later on. But you get the point. So when I always hear the thing with Leon is, oh, he has had a brand new game since 2012. At least he's had a campaign, multiple campaigns too, since that time. Chris hasn't had a campaign of any kind since 2012, remake or anything. He hasn't been in any of the remakes. I mean, hell, even Claire's got that over him. At least she's had Revelations too, even though it was a spinoff, but she has that. Chris has just barely been in any of the games. He's been in them, but barely at all. So where's this whole overexposure? It isn't like he's overbearing, and that's the problem. Anything Leon's in, he's always going to outshine everybody because Capcom already respects him way too much for his own good, and is always going to push him over everyone else. That's why I feel so bad and terrible for Grace, because how can she really succeed in that situation knowing Capcom's track record? I mean, Ethan, they gave him a chance, but don't look like you're going to give Grace much of a chance if Leon is in Resident Evil Requiem. So hopefully I can dispel that whole thing of the whole Chris being overexposed. No, it's Leon, because I even mentioned all the movies he's in. He's been in every CGI movie and every show on top of the 2 remakes. So yeah, Leon fans got it good. I don't know why, you know, they act like they don't, which gets me to the next part, his Fanatics. And let me tell you something. I get it, you know, being a content creator, every fandom, every character's fans has got Fanatics. I get it, understand it. I'm part of this community for a long time. You see everything. Take Resident Evil 4, for example. To some, it's the greatest game of all time. It is my all-time favorite game. To others, it's the worst thing that ever happened in the Resident Evil fandom. It's the ultimate extremes. But let's stop acting like Leon hasn't been given everything. I mean, seriously. Leon has had, you know, 2 titles in the franchise. They're some of the highest rated and most loved in terms of Resident Evil 2 and 4. Both those titles have been remade where his whole parts in the remakes have always been made to look good, and by the vast majority of people love both sides of them. As I said earlier, he's been in every single CGI movie and in the show, and I've always thought, you know, why does he have to be in every single one? Why can't you give that spotlight to other characters who might not have a lot of opportunities to be in this franchise? It's like the Sheva, you know, the Billy Cones, the Carloses, the Hunks, anybody. Like, seriously, it's ridiculous. Why is it always got to be Leon? And that's where the whole thing I've never understand with the Leon Fanatics. And I say Fanatics because I am a fan. He is my second favorite character, but I don't obsess over his character. I don't obsess over any character. You know, I like him, but I don't want to like him at the expense of everyone else made to look bad, made to look like stepping stools to make him look good. Because that's the problem with this franchise. This seems like it's too about one, maybe a little bit about another individual, instead of, you know, spreading the wealth. And every time you have something else good happens, you know, it gets stopped and stifled, but, you know, it's always another Leon opportunity being given. You know, he didn't just become popular because he's that much better than everyone else. He became popular because they didn't want to do anything with anyone else, and they just kind of slowly wrote everyone else off the map while non-stop Leon. It used to be a little bit of a debate with Leon and Chris, but now, considering that Chris is barely in a lot of these things at all, and you see Leon being the major star in every single thing now, and now him being possibly in Resident Evil Requiem, you can start to see why a lot of people get annoyed with a little bit of his fan base too. So I just wanted to point out there that a lot of Leon fanatics make things look bad for the Leon fans as well. It's not good for the fans because I think a lot of his fans do agree with this, but it's unfortunately the fanatical side that gives a lot of that dislike and maybe a little bit residual hatred as well. So hopefully I point that out because it makes fans like me look bad and all because I'm not like that. And I want the wealth to be spread, not so much overdone with one character getting the spotlight and being looked to be good in the spotlight 24/7. Because now we get to the next part that really, I think, did a lot of these things in terms of got a lot of people pissed off, especially the Jill fans. And that is the unfortunate situation with leaks and rumors going by with Resident Evil Requiem. Before Requiem was ever revealed, for years we were led to believe that, oh my goodness, this game is going to co-star Leon and Jill. And it sounded cool. Oh, that'd be awesome. Cool. Leon and Jill finally met for the first time ever in Death Island, and now we can capitalize off of them co-starring in a mainline Resident Evil game. That sounds awesome. Unfortunately, more than likely, it's not going to be true because of a few months ago or last year, it was brought up by fellow leaker, information insider person, whatever you want to call him, Dust Golem, that the Jill part has been taken out. That initially she was in it, but now she's not in it. So you're a Jill fan. You've been disrespected for God knows how long it has been. I mean, if you want to be technical, she has not been a main character for a mainline major Resident Evil entry since 1999. I mean, she's got more in common now with the Dallas Cowboys of just having no relevancy outside of the 90s, it seems like, because it's like, damn, can she get anything? And yeah, she had Revelations, but that was a spinoff ported from the 3DS, and Resident Evil 3 Remake, I've already talked about it, was a half-assed remake. So you finally seem like, oh, you're going to get the limelight. You're going to be in a mainline game starring next to Leon Kennedy. But, oh, you've been kicked to the side. Now it seems like the Leon part is going to stay, and he's going to be one of the major characters. How do you feel about that? Yeah. A lot of Jill fans will never let dust live on that because, as I said before, I get it. You want to report information, but in that you needed a context. Because you better be right if you want to say Jill's going to be in the game and then say, oh, she's been taken out. Because if you're not, fans are never going to let you live that down. Now, I think a lot of Jill fans are just pissed off. But then we get to the last point I want to make, and that is the whole going back to Raccoon City. And this is where I think a lot of people are where we are right now in terms of the current dislike. And this is where I blame Capcom with the favoritism of Leon. So going back to Raccoon City, that sounds cool. That sounds awesome. The problem is that if it is to be true that Leon is going to be the other main playable character in Requiem, here's the question. Why is it that he's got to be the one that does it and nobody else? Why is it it's always him that's got to get the green light, no one else? Because Raccoon City means a lot for a lot of characters. It was also Claire's debut. Jill, Chris, Rebecca, Barry operated and lived out of that city for years. Leon was there for a day, but because of how the RE Engine remakes of 2 and 4 have led everyone to believe, the newer fans, that Resident Evil is basically all about Leon, that Raccoon City only really means something to Leon, it's now given the presumption that, like, everything from the original versions of the Resident Evil games are just obsolete. They don't matter. And that Jill isn't that important when it comes to Raccoon City. And that, it doesn't mean anything to her. So all these characters that have a vital, point of being there, if this was going to be the culmination of the entire story that started in Resident Evil 0 and 1 with the mansion and then Raccoon City in 2 and 3, well, the fact that none of them are going to be there possibly or in a very minimum role, that's just a slap in the face. I mean, Raccoon City was huge to a lot of characters. Yes, I agree, it's huge to Leon, and I do expect to see him, and I want to see him there. It's not like I don't want to see him there. But the fact that I'm only going to see him there, more than likely, that's what's gotten a lot of people frustrated and pissed off. Is once again, it's just another thing where Leon benefits at every other character being forgotten, ignored, or just disrespected. And that's where I feel like a lot of fans are right now. Yes, Rapid Crafter, to answer your question, do I think he's getting forced hatred and hatred altogether? I do agree to an extent. I don't think it's from a standpoint of they hate him. They hate what he's become and how it causes the rest of the cast to be treated, to be looked down upon. And that's not good. That's not good at all. And how Capcom shows so much favoritism. They hate how the side of his fan base will always justify it. Well, he's got to be in everything. He's the most popular character. Well, let me tell you this. If every other character was respected the same way and treated the same way as Leon, do you think he'd be that much more popular than everyone else? No. Maybe even possibly he might not even be the most popular. But yeah, when you keep, overexposing that one character, you keep making him look like the best compared to everyone else, and you keep going all in on him. Yeah, I mean, you can put 2 and 2 together. And that's the problem. And a lot of these problems start with Capcom, and it built over time. It's been built for decades, and it's really been exemplified in the RE Engine days. So I don't believe that Leon is ever going to be an overrated character, but for a lot of the old-time fans, more than the newer fans, they just grow frustrated with it. And that's, I think, the key word in all this, frustrated. They are frustrated. Because we keep playing this whole thing, well, you know what? He's going to get this game. The next game will be that. Or next game, Jill will get her chance to shine. How many times have we been saying that for years, decades? I mean, by the time they do give Jill the next game, a lot of us might not be fans of the franchise or might not even play games anymore. And people are just tired of waiting decades. I mean, I keep reminding people, Jill's last game that she was a main character in terms of a mainline, not spin-off, not remake, mainline Resident Evil game, was 1999. All right? 1999. Like, that's a long time ago, people. That's over a quarter century. So, hopefully I made these points clear. As I said, I'm a Leon fan. He's my second favorite character. And I do want to see him in Requiem. But I want to see a lot of characters in Requiem. Because Requiem, if it's going to be a homage to that original story that started in a whole city and town, then it's got to bring everyone that's involved, that matters in that town. It just can't be the Leon show. Because it would just be a huge slap in the face to all those other characters who mattered. That seems like Capcom just wants to disrespect. So I'm always going to hold out hope that maybe they're just hiding all this really well. And maybe there is going to be other things that have been revealed. And that could be true. And I would like to be wrong and proven wrong. But I've always said this before. Capcom has to prove me wrong. And I want them to prove me wrong. I want them to make a great game that gives, respect towards Leon and this, going back to Raccoon City, but also gives respect to Jill and Chris and some of the other characters that had as much vital say to that city as this franchise, as well as Leon. Spread the wealth. That's all I ask. So hopefully I answered your question. And yes, I do agree to an extent. And yes, there are idiotic people that just say stupid comments. I've read some of the replies that had nothing to do with what you said. And I think what you said was taken a little bit out of context by other people who just want to get mad at something. Hopefully I provided that context to maybe understand where we're coming from. But as I always like to say, that is my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinion. How do you feel about this whole Leon situation? Is it something that you feel like this has been building up over years? Do you think he is getting a lot of forced or over hatred? Or do you think it's just the context of how Capcom has treated other characters and compared to him? Let me know down in the comment section down below. But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. And hopefully I can see you guys back in the next one. Thanks, and I'll see you all later. Peace.